Hi guys, it's Jackie M here, and give me 2 seconds while I share this on my social media. I'm just gonna double check. I forgot to check that I'm connected to all the right settings. Just bear with me for a second. Yep, all good, cool. Yep, just give me a second while I copy this link and share it. Sorry guys. Always tweaking, and I'm using YouTube Live again for the resolution because I think it's just got a better, higher resolution with my broadcast. Okay. Now I can't see myself. Give me a second. Patience. Where am I? Okay. Hi guys, Jackie M here. For those of you who don't know me, I forgot to turn on the light, so give me another second. Hang on. Okay. Running a little bit behind, but for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jackie M. JackieM.com.au is the best place to find me, and I'm a Malaysian cook. Used to own a restaurant here in Sydney, Australia, and nowadays I do these live streaming events. I run them every weekday, and I teach you how to cook Southeast Asian food, but most primarily Malaysian food, okay? And this particular recipe, I've shown you this before under a different title, called it Making Fish Paste. Today I'm going to show you not just how to make fish paste, but I'm going to show you what I do with it after that, which is to make fish bowls out of it, okay? So give me a couple of seconds, and I'll cover the ingredients we're going to need. I'm using Basa fillets, if you can see this, and some chicken mince over here, okay? I'm just gonna come up close to show you. Okay. So Basa is a type of freshwater fish, and this is actually, I bought this like this. Usually in my previous broadcast, I actually used frozen Basa, which had a lot more water content in it, even after it was defrosted. So this time I'm actually using basically non-frozen Basa. I wouldn't say fresh Basa because I'm sure it would have been snap frozen at some point before it arrived at my local supermarkets here. But it does mean that the texture is a lot firmer and it's got a lot less water content. So it may mean I might need to add water to this. So I'm just going to use half of this, and I'm throwing it into my Thermomix, and you can use a food processor, which would be the norm. I just don't own a food processor because my Thermomix and my Thermocook are multi-function, and one of their functions is as a food processor, okay? So I've got about half a kilo, maybe just a touch over half a kilo of Basa fillets. If you know anything about my cooking, everything I do is what we call agak, which is guesstimating, right? So I don't measure most of my ingredients. I've got 500 grams of chicken mince here, and of that I'm going to add probably about a third of a packet of it, which would mean about just over 150 grams, maybe a touch more. We'll see how we go with this. And let's blend this a little bit, and then I'll see how it looks before I add the other ingredients, okay? Okay, so this is 4 seconds in the blending function of my Thermomix. I'm going to need to blend it quite a bit more, okay, because I can still actually see chunks of fish in here. I want this to be essentially a completely smooth paste, right? Hi, sweetheart. And for those of you who don't know, this is my toddler son Noah. He's got Down syndrome, and he has a tendency to insert himself into the proceedings. He was asleep up until obviously about 2 seconds ago. Over here, baby. Over here. Okay, I'm just making sure he's a safe distance away. So I'm gonna. So as far as texture is concerned, it's turned out quite well. Usually, if I were using defrosted frozen Basa, it would have been a lot more mushy. Okay, so this is a good sign so far. You know what? Before I do that, I'm going to add the other seasoning ingredients into this. And by seasoning ingredients, I'm just going to turn this on. And of course, you know I'm rushing because I've missed all my regular steps. So I want to give a shout out to Lenovo Australia because I'm using their laptops to both run my live broadcast from and also to monitor the comments or any kind of settings, right? And also to Rode microphones. They supply all the microphones I use in my broadcast. And also today I'm using Sunbeam tabletop stove over here, okay, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So as far as seasoning, I'm going to add my chicken powder, and I've covered this fairly extensively in all my broadcasts. And this essentially is similar in nature to stock cubes, right? It's in granulated form. To me, it's got more flavor than regular stock cubes, which is why I use this. Very popular ingredient in Asian cooking, right? Even though it's not always spoken out because it does contain a little bit of MSG. I'm going to put a touch of sugar in here, just about half a teaspoon or so. Tapioca flour, and that helps to bind things together. You don't have tapioca flour, you can use corn flour, cornstarch, right? I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons in here. And finally, I'm going to add some pepper. And just give me a second while I hop back onto Facebook to make sure everything is working okay. Okay, so pepper, white pepper. And just give me a second while I check that, okay, I can't see the broadcast yet. Okay, cool. So seasoning ingredients, and I'm going to blend this to a smooth paste, okay? Okay, let's just check this. Okay, it's looking good. I won't need any water added to this. Okay, now I just want to actually, this is an additional step, right? That I'm going to try. I'm going to knead it, use the knead. I'm going to use the kneading function as though you were kneading bread, right? And of course, if you don't have a Thermomix or a Thermocook, you would be blending this in a food processor and then transferring it into a dough mixer to just mix it around a little bit, and that helps, in theory, to expel some of the air out of your mixture and hopefully give you a more bouncy fish roll at the end, okay? I'm just going to blend it for a couple more seconds first. Okay. Okay, so now I'm kneading it. Let's see how it turns out. I'm just heating up some water over here. This is my Sunbeam tabletop cooker, and it's both a steamer. It comes with a steaming basket, which I'm not using, and also just, you know, you can use it as a regular stock pot as well. That's what I'm doing. So this is heating up, and next to it, I've got basically a wok of oil that I'm going to heat up as well, right? Because I'm going to show you 2 different ways you can use your fish bowls, okay? I'm just going to move some of these things out of the way. So this is what it looks like. I'll come up close. Now, adding the chicken mince to the mix thing is a new twist on making fish bowls, right? And it was something that was actually suggested to me by Uncle Jim, one of my Malaysian chef colleagues who owns a number of eateries in Sydney. Uncle Jim is from Penang. So he suggested adding the chicken mince because it gives your fish bowls the bounciness that you want to achieve. And if you watched my broadcast yesterday, I know if you're watching from YouTube, you'll have to find my how to make beef bowls broadcast on my Facebook page. My Facebook page is facebook.com/JackieMFood. And if you want all the recipes, right, go and visit jackiem.com.au, right? And that's where all the recipes end up post-broadcast. It may take a couple of days because we need to create the graphics and all that sort of stuff. But that's where all my broadcast recipes go. So do check it out. And also, if you're not watching this on YouTube at the moment, go and visit youtube.com/JackieM and subscribe to my channel there if you don't mind. That's where all my that's where a lot of my videos go to, okay? I'm just gonna spin the rest of this out, so I'll just use the turbo setting on my Thermomix to get the rest of this out. Okay, that just spins it so that all the contents that are stuck to the blades get pushed to the side walls, and just makes it easier for me to scrape them out from here. Now, the Thermocook over here does the same thing as the Thermomix, more or less. So all my recipes that you find on my website, I've got a category of recipes on my website that are Thermomix/Thermocook recipes. So you can pretty much, you know, just interchange the recipes, whichever unit you're using. And if you're interested in a Thermocook, there is an affiliate link on all my recipes. But if you want to look them up, my affiliate account is located at jackiem.com.au/Froothie, FROOTHIE, right? And if you buy it, I get a small commission out of it. Okay, just so you're just doing my due diligence. Okay, so I've got the paste over here, and now I'm going to make a batch of fish bowls that are boiled, like how they are traditionally if you have them in a soup. And I'm going to do some that are deep fried as well, which is actually how I prefer to eat them, to be honest. So let me just get a couple of things out of the way while the water's just boiling, heating up. Okay, so the water's boiling. And if you watched my broadcast yesterday on making beef bowls, the process is the same. You got the palm of your hand. You get a scoop of fish paste in here, and then you work it, right? Just between your thumb and your index finger. You want to squeeze some fish paste out. Try and like make it a little bit pretty. And then you just drop them into the water here, just like that, okay? So again, just some of the fish paste in your hand. Just squeeze it out and drop it in the water. Now, fish paste, you can use it for a whole bunch of other recipes, right? I was going to show them here today, but I think I've already covered it in one of my 200 plus other videos anyway, but I was thinking of making yong tofu, which is mixed stuffed vegetables, right? And so what you can do is you can use your favorite vegetables, like choose from like capsicum, chilies, eggplants, and all that sort of stuff. And what you can do is basically cut slits into them and then stuff them with this fish paste. And then what I do is I deep fry them, right? You can poach them, steam them, or whatever, and then serve it with the sauce. I deep fry them and then I cook them with garlic and an oyster sauce base sauce, okay? So like I said, I actually prefer eating my these fish balls actually fried up. So I'm gonna start doing some fried fish balls over here. So remember the ingredients here are just a fish paste plus chicken mince. And the chicken mince actually helps, like I said, to create a little bit of a bounce to it. You can't actually taste the chicken in this, okay? So if you were served this and people said this was fish balls, you wouldn't know unless you were told that they actually contain chicken, okay? The oil's not quite hot enough, so we'll wait another couple of seconds, couple of minutes. Just let me take my gloves off in the meantime. If you've got any questions at all, hit me up. If I don't see your questions in now, I should be able to address them either after this broadcast by responding directly to your comments, or I will cover them in my next broadcast, okay? Speaking of which, tomorrow, if you're watching this live now, tomorrow, my broadcast will actually be brought to you by TAFE New South Wales. TAFE is the Technical and Further Education body, and I will be doing a couple of masterclass presentations for them from their commercial cookery campus over here in Sydney, Australia. So I'm going to be on the stage doing some cooking demonstrations for their Open Days celebrations, and they'll be streaming that live, and I'll get my assistant to share that on my social media account, so you get to see what happens, the kind of stuff that I do to help pay the bills. Okay, so this is just starting to froth up. Now, I mentioned this before, if you're doing deep frying, a lot of people are very leery about doing deep frying in the absence of a proper deep fryer, right? The fact is, except for when I have a restaurant, I never do my deep frying in a deep fryer, right? I deep fry in a wok or a pot or something like that, and I fill it up with just enough oil to be able to make sure that the contents of the stuff I'm deep frying are sufficiently submerged. And if you're using a thin wok, you can buy these bamboo mats, right, at Asian grocery stores, and they're weaved quite widely, and they just look like about this size, and they just crisscross like that, and they cost a couple of dollars now. They used to cost less, cost a couple of dollars now. And what you do, you slide them into your wok with the oil in it, right? And it will sink to the bottom. And what it does, it just helps create a buffer between the food that you're deep frying and the wok surface, so just to prevent them from scorching, because that will happen if if the food sinks to the bottom of your wok when you're deep frying, then will start to scorch. Okay, this can come out. Okay, so these are the fish balls made just by boiling. They look a little bit rough around the edges. I've got a feeling maybe I could have added more tapioca starch to this. But nonetheless, you will never get as smooth a texture of fish balls doing it yourself at home as you would if you were actually buying those factory produced ones. Okay, so I'll just show you what it looks like. Okay, so these are fish balls, and you would use them, like I said, in soups with noodles. But I do prefer them deep fried, and that's what I'm doing now over here. So keep an eye out while I drop a few more in there in the wok. And the other thing you can do as well, which is what my mom does with this paste here, she'll mold them into flat, sort of flattish rectangular shapes, and then fry them. And when they're fried up, you slice them, right? And then that will give you fish cake slices. So all these things, fish balls, yong tau fu, stuffing, otak filling even, with a few more ingredients added to it. And fish cakes, they all come from basically a base of like a processed fish, okay? So let me drop this in here. I actually, in all honesty, I'm rounding this up best I can, right? But in all honesty, when I do this for personal consumption, I like the surface a little bit rough. So I usually would drop them in all kinds of weird shapes, because what happens is then you can get the nice crispy bits from all the bits are just kind of like hanging off a little bit. Whereas if you ball it up, aesthetically it looks nicer, but it does mean that, yeah, it's got less surface area that's deep fried. Okay, I'm just going to do a couple more so you can see what they look like. I'm making this in all honesty because this is part of our staple. It's something that Noah and I eat every week. So I always have a supply of fish balls, deep fried fish balls usually, because we eat a lot of soup, right? Soupy noodles. And these are kind of like just fish dumplings, if you want another word for it. Goodness knows, every time I mention fish balls, some smart aleck will come up with some joke about, human anatomy and that sort of stuff. Okay. So I'll give this another minute or two, and then I'll dish it up so you can see it. In the meantime, the fish balls. Now, other ingredients that you find in some recipes, some people use some baking soda in their fish paste. You can try that as well. I did that with yesterday's batch of beef balls. Okay, I don't know how it would have turned out without it. I didn't used to use it. So it's really hard to tell you if that actually helped to make the end result smoother or bouncier, right? But yeah, give that a go. So you can see these frying up quite nicely, and I'll get something to dish them up with. Let me just check quickly. Any comments? Okay. So you want to fry these till they puff up, and then fry them some more a little bit, okay? I actually like them quite brown, so I tend to let them fry a little bit longer. But this is actually already cooked, so it can come out. And they puff up because of the flour in it, but they will actually shrink back up and shrivel up a little bit. Okay, I'll let the others keep cooking. So there you go. That's the fried fish balls, and these are the boiled ones, okay? And you can use both in your soupy noodles, and you can have both of them in the soupy noodles at the same time as well. And if you want to play around with the ingredients, you can add, especially the fried version, right? The batch with the fried version, you can add other ingredients to make it a little bit more interesting. You know, and I'm thinking of things like onion, maybe with a garlic. And in Malaysia, there's a version of fried fish balls actually that has a fish skin in it, I believe. I've never tried it, so I've never tried making it. I've had it. I didn't realize that it was fish skin when I was a kid, but it was really, really nice. One of my fonder memories of eating in Malaysia. There you go. I hope this is helpful for next time, for when you next attempt your making fish balls from scratch. They're a lot healthier and you know, have more fish content than the pre-packaged frozen version you will find in your Asian grocery store. Okay, thank you guys. I will see you tomorrow from the stage at the right campus of the TAFE New South Wales. Ciao.